What's the story for 20? We're talking about the 13th, and then we're going to be talking about America as well. There's some guests coming across from TikTok. So I think she's trying to get off TikTok as well, the same as Giddy. I think Giddy's getting off TikTok. I think he sent a post in today saying he's getting off TikTok altogether. TikTok's just poison. What's the story, Sean? Kick toxic. That's what I call it, yeah. Shit. How are you, True, for speaking? How are you? Just waiting for Giddy to come up. The link is in the comments there, True, for speaking. We want to come up. How are you, Rod? How are you? For 20, you going tomorrow? There's a protest in or a march in Meath. I'm meeting Bridget in town. We're getting the bus out. Were you down Wexford 420 away? Was that you doing the music video earlier on? Fundalk. Is that where you are in Fundalk, is it? Good to hear, Raw. Good to hear. People protesting in the streets in town, see UK. I was watching it earlier on, Chris, yeah. In Egton, whatever you call the place. I can't remember what the place is called.
Hello.
What's the story? Yeah, she's in the comments there.
Triple speaking, if you'd like.
Nice from 420.
I'll put the link back in again. Right, so if you click the link there, Truthful Speaking, and just make your way in.
Chris, are you going on the 13th of September? Did a big protest in London? There's a few of us heading across. I just want to get what other people's views are now over in the UK on all this. Any hotels in Dallas, Texas, sir? You're not going, Chris? No. I was just going to say we could meet up. Skyline Media is great content the last few days. All Irish faces in Wexford. Oh, you weren't down there for 20, just somebody else's video, was it? Well, I was a lefties at it, say, was there?
It's Truthful Speaking still here.
He was here a few minutes ago, yeah. I put the yoke back over
there. Oh, there we go. There we go. We're on. Have you entered her into the room?
Yeah.
There we go.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, how are you?
We can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you, Truthful. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're good. I don't know whether you've seen what we're going to be talking about tonight, but it's nice to have you in. We have you in as a special guest, and anyway, all the way from Texas. Am I correct? Can you hear us, Truthful?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. This is my first time being up live like this. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you can hear you.
Are you trying to figure out the comments, is it? Are you trying to figure out the comments and all?
Well, no. So, like, I'm in the studio version. It's like there's a lag and then there's an echo. So I'm trying to figure all that out.
Yeah, that does sometimes happen. We've noticed that ourselves. It's a little bit of tweaking about that you have to do with your media there. And it's very annoying when people are talking to you as well.
Is it repeating itself?
Yeah, it's repeating, and then there's a little bit of a lag.
Maybe you have to jump out and come back in again.
Try jumping out, come back in again, because now that you've like kind of positioned yourself in here, it might just let you back up next time without any of the lag.
Someone else, yeah, I'm working until Christmas. Got the 12th off for the trip. Nice one, 420.
Happy days. Right, she'll come back in a minute.
The hotel and all is booked in anyway, 420.
Yeah, all done. I told them. Hold on,
What's
here
the
we go.
story, Hillbilly? How are you? That's where I'm back in now.
Yeah.
Is it any better?
Hopefully.
You sound actually very clear to us.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, we can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, it's still a repeat, but it's not lagging.
It takes a little bit of time for it. Like, it's very hard to, like, you know, get it right. Like, Mousy had this problem, I had that problem. We had a few guests that had that problem. I think it's just the fact that we're using YouTube.
Very frustrating. Yeah.
You all right, Hillbilly? How are you? Any difference with it, Truthful?
Huh?
Can you hear
No,
us?
not yet. I'm trying to see if I can Google like some kind of fix.
I think there's other platforms that we could use other than StreamYard, but this one seemed to be so positive, and we've used this quite a while.
There's Restream.
Oh, let me see this. It says there's some kind of noise canceling.
Yeah, Lockery, I've been in there a couple of times in Shankill. And I've seen them building in there. I went over to one of the places and had a look, but they wouldn't let me in. There's 2 places in there. They're building inside the estate. On the, I don't think it's on the Shangana side, I think.
Shangannon prison still there,
I think so, yeah.
the old prison
The
site.
old prison site, yeah.
So that's not an open prison anymore, then it's just shut down, probably given to migrants or something like that.
That's what he's saying, yeah. I think it's getting built over, you know, that they're putting apartments or whatever the fuck in there. Or an iPad centre or something. I know I haven't a fucking clue, but they went over and they wouldn't let me in onto the site.
Grinder, but I think he was taking the piss. Yeah, I think he is taking the piss. 420. Grinder's a gay site.
I can book recommending some cloud Grinder.
It's for book pirates. It's for book pirates. Trust me. Ask Mousy's best friend. Hey, he knows all about book pirates.
You know, fucking stuff with it. Hey. She come back in, yeah. I'll put the link back over there.
She's just trying to sort it all out. What she's doing. Yeah, right, Frankie. What's the story?
What's the story, Frankie?
Is that
Frankie
Frankie from America?
Frankie from America, yeah.
We have, well, there we go. Truthful Speaking is from Texas, Frankie. If you'd like to come up and join us. Purple Aki in a trackie. Jesus Christ, like, where did these people
down
get
to build
the
apartments?
Is that any better, Truthful Speaking? Can you hear us now? And are you loud and clear?
It's getting better little by little. So it's like every time I go out and come back in, it gets better and better.
Right, to the audience that's in here, can you just tell them a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind? Where you're from, and not too much information. And she's frozen.
Yeah, she might have to drop down and come back in again.
That's frustrating out of its head, that must be.
No, she's back there now. Do you want to come up, Frankie? Or just down out of the fuck up, just down out of the grinder.
Yeah, you get great fun out of that, you will, 420. We'll send you to the steam engine.
Man, if you watch those pedo hunters, a lot of those these PDFs, they go online using that app. I've heard that a few times being mentioned in those reading those channels. That grinder thing. I'm walking
No worries,
Bobby now.
Frankie.
Yep, I'll be there. Bobby Marley, is it you're walking?
Bit of Bobby Marley while he's walking as Bobby. Yeah, so guys, we'll get on with the conversation anyway. Truthful Speaking is just having a little bit of technical trouble getting in at the moment, but I'm sure she'll come back in when she gets here. She comes back in again. Okay. Are we winning this time? Yes? No?
Let's fingers crossed and see what happens.
You're perfectly clear. We can hear you perfectly clear. Can you hear
I'm
us?
not hearing any lag or anything. Nope,
That's
there's
good.
still a repeat, but I think it's doable.
Okay. So with further ado, would you like to introduce yourself, Truthful, and a little bit about yourself, not too much, just basically where you're from and what you kind of do for your profession?
Before you start there, if anybody wants to follow Truthful, she's just had to join on YouTube there, so give her a follow. Thanks very much. Right, go ahead.
No, Robert, I actually haven't seen that.
Yeah, so just a little bit about myself, you guys. I am an Irish American living in Texas. My platform is usually about connecting Irish diaspora to Ireland, helping educate about what's going on in Ireland. And then I also actively advocate for issues in Ireland, working towards Irish sovereignty, bringing up issues that are occurring in Ireland, and then trying to take a proactive part in that.
Now, that's a bit more better conversation than TikTok, to be fair. So if you'd like to direct any questions at Triple Speaking as regards to what's happening in America, as the way America is looking at Ireland, please do. Can you see the comments, Truthful?
Yeah. And
There's nothing just yet. It's very slow at the moment. So there's no big panic, no rush. Nobody's in a big panic to do anything. It's just so people kind of know who you are and what's going on. You'll notice that it's a very calm, relaxing life. But for the moment being, we are going to talk about London on the 13th, where they're expecting anything from 500,000 people, probably more, to turn up for a protest about remigration in London on the 13th. Myself, Mousy, and two others are going over to document it. Anybody that's from the UK that's coming in, if you're going, put your hand up, let us know. We'd like to meet you there. Probably get you some video feed and what you think is happening in your own country. We think that generally the UK is a testing ground for everything that happens in Ireland.
What's the story, Jerry?
We think like everything you get, like I look at it like this: in America, 2 or 3 years later, the UK gets it, and 2 or 3 years later, after UK gets it, Ireland gets it. So, ever what happens, it's kind of like it falls together. There you go. Truthful highlighted there for you. Somebody called Frankie.
Frankie's from America as well. Can you read that, Truthful, yeah?
Yeah, I see it. So I'm still having a bit of an echo, so I'm trying to work with it. So I'm going to be a little bit slower in my response just because I'm having to wait for it to catch up and I don't want to keep going in and out. But basically, like, as Hebrew might immigrate aid society affects both American and the West. 1.2 million migrants were brought in just last year, given 8.6 thousand, given permanent housing. Your thoughts?
Will you just also, sorry, Truthful, can you just notify Frankie as your profession?
Yeah,
because I think that has kind of helped him a bit.
So I work as a lawyer, but in the United States, I work under, I do law here in the United States in Texas. I do practice international law as well. But
Okay.
also let you know, so my thought process as far as any type of immigration at all in the United States needs to be halted because when countries have infrastructure problem, resource allocation problems, things like that, the attention is focused on the citizens of that country until those issues are fixed. We have a duty to take care of citizens, just like we have a duty to take care of persons that live in our homes before taking care of people from the outside. It's not to say people from the outside don't need help, but we are derelict in our duty when we don't take care of our household first, and that's just being about responsible and accountable.
Right.
Can I answer
Frankie,
that
if you
question,
look,
Frankie? I know it's hard to hear sometimes because you're breaking up a little bit. But
it's a slight little break in your speaking, Truthful. So people might just find it a little bit difficult. But if you did get, like, I understood what was said there. Just listen closely and carefully.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop
Frankie
out
will.
for a second and switch mics, and I'll see if that fixes it.
What's that? YouTube.
where's that? That's her channel. That's what
Yeah,
Jerry does.
yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
guys.
Jerry's very good at knowing all this stuff, man. How to do all that.
Yeah, guys, if it is, I'll follow, like, give it a follow on there and get us started because we will be having more conversations with her in the future. As she said there, she works as a lawyer in the United States and she does international law too. So very, very, let's say a brainy person on here that knows what they're talking about when it comes to the law and stuff like that. We're quite happy to have people like that on, people that know their stuff. 420 audits, yeah, we always put 420 out, and anyway, we always put everybody out. We try helping everybody best we can. We would like 10,000 people to come up and subscribe to us. It'd be very nice as well. Are you all right, Frankie? How are you?
Good. Did she step down?
She didn't
She's
step
trying to
down.
sort
She
out
did
Okay.
our audio.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, she seems like a very educated person, but I was just saying, what are your comments on how it happens here first, and then about 2 or 3 later in the UK, and then ultimately in Ireland? So the new thing that was passed here, obviously, is the anti-Semitic hate speech law that they've passed, but it's ultimately going further depth in the detail. So they're changing the definition of it day by day. So now, if you burn, deflace, even make a meme about the Israeli flag, you could
Nice and 420.
potentially be arrested. So that's going to start with us, and it's going to go with you. So basically, we're going to be Noahides, and that's what's all going to be under. And like I said, they're going to make a big false flag with your government being favorable towards Palestine. So it's.
Oh yeah, they've already started on that, Frankie. Have you not seen the paper? Well, I don't know whether you've seen the paper over here. The Journal actually put this out that see the way somehow that they want to cease, trade with Israel. Well, America is saying if you do that, it's against their anti.
No, there's a
can't
big
remember
false
what-
flag coming because now if France is going to recognize them. I mean, Macron's a Rothschild banker, so you can't trust him anyway. Keir Starmer's a fucking Jew, and he's married to one. I believe he converted, but anyway. So it's this whole facade of Britain and France going to recognize it. That's going to play up to this big false flag that's going to come probably in September. Like I maybe it's then, I don't know, but it's all seems a bit too convenient because this is different. This is the Security Council. It's not just the regular UN meeting. So this Security Council can really actually.
Can you bring in Truthful there, Mousy?
Yeah, give me a second. It's just texting here.
I would like to know her thoughts on like the new anti-Semitic hate speech law.
She's
Hello?
there right beside you there, Frankie.
Hi, Truthful. I'm from California, from Los Angeles.
Okay.
I was just wondering, like I was saying to Mousy before, when you just dropped down, about the new anti-Semitic hate speech law that has come into play. And like I said, its definition is further changing like day by day. Like they're changing the definition of what an anti-Semite is. You know, if you criticize, even Israel, what's going on. And now I believe they've said, I don't know if it's passed yet, about the burning of the Israeli flag, even though it's perfectly legal to burn the American flag, I believe, yet you can't burn the Israeli flag or make a meme about it or deface it in any regard or degrade it, or I should say. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I don't like what's called wasteful legislation, and I don't like redundancy in law. Obviously, and any practicing lawyer should not like redundancy in law. Any judge is going to hate redundancy in law, and I feel like that this anti-Semitic hate speech law it's very redundant and unnecessary law. It's obviously got some kind of propaganda that's tied to it because we already have hate speech laws that are in place that completely cover exactly whatever it is that they're trying to say geared to any anti-Semitism speech. I mean, our laws are very narrowly tailored as to what hate speech law is versus offensive speech. And I think from what it sounds like and what I've read on it, I think that they're trying to cross that line into trying to cover offensive speech. And I absolutely have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with somebody having the freedom to say things that are offensive to me at all because I'm an adult and I believe in freedom of speech. And, it's to me, I think that this is something that should not be pushed. I don't think it's something that goes through. And I think it absolutely violates the Constitution. And we've already gotten a ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court, which is Texas versus Johnson. That was 1989. It had to do with the whole flag burning case and what is offensive versus hate speech. And it was already ruled that the government cannot ban speech simply because it's offensive. You just can't do that. It's explicitly protected under the First Amendment. And like I said, under U.S. law, hate speech in and of itself is any speech that attacks a person, a group based on race, religion, sexual orientation, any of those protected classes. So it's wasteful law. It's wasteful legislation, and it's clearly tied to some type of propaganda.
And that's a great answer. Thank you for that. And can I just one more thing to add on to that, about that. So you're saying it discriminates against race. Do you think that's why hasn't anything been done about the whites that are being discriminated against? Because we are being discriminated, and it's not just in Ireland, but in America too. Surely you can see that.
Well, I think the problem is whenever there are things that come up necessarily against like white people in the United States, the issue there is that we don't tend to take people to court over that. We complain about it or we point it out, but we don't really sue people over it the way other groups do. So I think until people start really pointing out specific instances where discrimination has happened and kind of holding the feet to the fire, that's not going to change. And so you have to start taking a more proactive role about that. And I do understand that the uphill battle that you face in the court systems is that the first argument that's going to come back is saying, well, if you're somebody who's a member of the white race and you're trying to say that you were discriminated against because you're white, how are you being disenfranchised versus these other groups? And so there might be a little bit more of a burden to prove your case. But I think that if that's a hurdle that you want to start attacking, the only answer to that is that there has to actually be lawsuits that start getting filed.
Okay. Yeah, that's good, because like there's just a lot of this unnecessary white guilt that's going on, and I think it just needs to change in the whole West. People need to wake up and, like you said,
So,
take matters in their own hands. I think people are just
guys,
being
can I
too.
just put something to you here real quickly? So what you're trying to say is that your freedom of speech is pending to be taken away, or is it being taken away?
The law hasn't passed yet, but they've been trying to slowly pass certain laws here and there to limit our speech. They've been working at it for years. A lot of these time these laws fail, but they do get further and further along. And I think that maybe they're trying to use this anti-Semitic law, hate speech law, to try to kind of coattail it in that way. But yeah, our government has tried for years, and on both sides, they've tried for years to find ways to kind of limit speech, which is unconstitutional.
Jesus. So Agnes sake, if America is doing this right now, like I say,
They've been doing this for a long time, Giddy. I've been telling you.
They're pushing it towards the UK now as well, you see. And they've already tried to do something similar within Ireland as well. Do you know what I mean? It's baffling, like, what's going on.
Yeah, I think y'all's hate speech law is a lot more restrictive than ours is, though. That's something that's coming down from that Brussels is really laying into the Irish government about, correct?
Every to Ireland.
Well, I mean, I mean, the immigration problem, I think it probably started to get worse underneath us. I mean, we have, I don't even know how many, 20 to 50 million. That's what they say, illegal immigrants in the United States of America. It could be more, could be less, but it's around that region. And they're not even going to be able to deport, I think, 1 million migrants within a year under this administration. I think even though he's given, 150 billion, I think it's just all smoke and mirrors, and it's all theater. I mean, England is getting 400 to 700 migrants a day now crossing through the channel. I think that's a day. That's not good. And then Ireland's such a small population, 3.5, 4 million, if that. And then you have daily crossings, and not only that, the NGOs.
We actually hit 7 million just 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so a very small population. But it's the legal migration problems too, with the NGOs that are bringing them in. Like I said, it was high S, and then you had Jewish Family Services, B'nai Birth, and then you have the Catholic Church, which is kind of ran by the same organizations too. So all these organizations are bringing them in. It's not just, so when I hear people say illegal migration is a problem, it is, but it's not. They don't really talk about legal migration.
Slim Shady there. Irish always follow the English for question. If you'd like to come up, Slim Shady, and explain what you mean by that. I don't know. I understand what you mean.
And realistically, asking you, because what do you think there's any way we can get any of these migrants out? Because I mean, I think it's too little too late what Donald Trump's done at the border. Yeah, there's no border crossings, but the damage is done here.
To be fair, I can see civil war hitting a lot of countries right across Europe. I don't know about America because I'm not too, on America, like, because you've got guns, you've got, like, you could do a lot more than what we could do by far. With pitchforks and hatchets and whatever else, yeah. But what I'm saying is, in America, you've got weapons. Like, if it comes down to it, you could actually clear it out yourselves if you really wanted it. And there's not really a lot that the authorities in America can really do about it, unless they actually bring out National Guard to help you rather than go against you.
Yeah, well, I think what the government sometimes takes for granted with us is they often take for granted the fact that the military in the U.S. is comprised of our family members. Those are our sons, our daughters, our brothers, our sisters, our cousins. Those are our family members. And so there was a time some years back where there was fear of a civil war hitting again. And there was a lot of the servicemen that were sitting there saying, like, hey, if y'all are trying to turn us on the people, we're not going to do it. So I think if the government did try to do some national movement of militarizing the military against U.S. Citizens as a whole, I don't think that they buy into it. I think that there would be a ton of defectors.
Oh yeah, I'd say so myself.
Do
It's
you
the
think
same
even in
with
the
really
officer class? Do you think even the officer class as well?
I think some of the officers, absolutely, because what the officers understand is that their duty is to the country and the safety protection of the country and the people. And there are officers who do see, and I've seen them do interviews with people about it, that if the military is being weaponized in a way specifically against the U.S. population, that they are not with it. Obviously, there's going to be some of those that they will do whatever the government tells them to do. And those are bad apples. And God forbid it came to that situation, but we'd be able to.
Would that not be, sorry, Trooper, would that not be like domestic tea in your own country if they were to do something like that?
I think absolutely, and that would be grounds for us to bring whoever in government made that decision. We'd be able to bring all of them up on treason charges.
You're right, True Ireland. How are you?
And honestly,
Yeah.
I think this country is going to go. United States. This is my opinion. I mean, what are we in now? 36 trillion. It's projected to be what, 40 to 42 trillion, maybe. I think we can't climb our way out of that. I mean, the whole financial systems here is destroyed. It's based on usury and everything. I was reading somewhere that a girl took out a $1,500 payment for her college loan. Little did she know, after 2 years, it was 17% interest on it. So that is just uncalled for. And we live in a usury debt-based society, which is basically destroying it from the inside. With also migration as well. So we're having this multiple angles where we're getting destroyed, and I really don't see any political way out of it.
Well, if you look at our own debt to GDP ratio, right, we're approaching that critical mass point where we're about to exceed like World War II era levels. Mm-hmm. And that's going to raise sustainability concerns. That's literally where the economists have us placed at. And, being in America, you understand what that means, where our economy was at during World War II.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you in Texas, just like me in California, I've seen the diaspora over here just change basically overnight since I was born here. It's all you hear basically is now Latino, Latin, Hispanic, and that's what it is. I mean, in Texas, is it gone really that bad?
So here's the thing that I love about Texas. Our economy is pretty self-sustaining, which is why when things get bad in the rest of the United States, like they did under Obama in that last recession and everything, there was a huge migration to Texas. Whether people love or hate the Republican Party in the United States, they are really good at the way that they handle the economy, especially here in Texas. So I don't think if it comes to that where we start seeing the economy kind of fall off once again in the U.S., I still think that Texas will be able to self-sustain just because of the way that our system is set up.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking about your Silicon Valley. Yeah, going back, I think it's about 2 years ago now, where the banks ran out of money. Yeah, well, a lot of very rich people were, just thought over it, weren't they? Really. Is that not saying something about the economy that's going to hit America probably sooner or later? And if it does hit America, it'll affect the rest of the world, will it not?
A lot of them from Silicon Valley went to Austin or stuff like that, I think, in Texas. I think that's where all the tech stuff is, in Texas. I could be wrong, but California is really on its way out. I mean, I just need to look around here. There's so many just people out of their mind on drugs, and the people that they're bringing here, Venezuelans, you freaking name it. Like, it's the crime has gone way bad here. People have said it's even worse in New York City. I mean, you just need to come to Skid Row or stuff like that just to see it.
Are they not actually doing that all over the world, though, at the moment?
They are.
Bear with me a second, Frankie. Let me put this across and just let me give you an outlook. In Ireland, we've been getting really heinous crimes happening for the last few months now. And what they're doing is now is they're using Indians as in, saying that they're being assaulted on the streets, that it's very violent for them to come here. You had the Indian embassy get in touch with our government. But yet now, the other day, we find out a guy that was elected in as a councillor in a place called Hallett in Dublin. Baby Papadan, his name is. He's an actual Indian or Pakistani, I'm not too sure. And he was taking money from nurses, a fee from nurses, and found out for it. Now, he's Fine Gael, and he still hasn't been dismissed from his job. There's a variant of different things happening here as regards to different people doing different things here. Do you know what I mean? And it's financially hateful, violence, and it seems to be spreading right across the UK, France, Sweden, Germany, and right across over into America. So I'd just like to hear your thoughts on that, guys.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys have fentanyl yet in Ireland or Europe, but that's really affected the United States over here, really bad. And I think just the problem that's another problem that's coming is the digital ID that they have set up that's on its way. And I think that's October that's coming in, and just all more security that they're going to implement on us, and they're going to say it's for our own our own security, our own peace of mind, and they're all going to say it's for our own benefit while they survey us more and they put more security on us. I don't know what's going to come, but I said the false flag with France and Britain want to recognize Palestine. The stuff that's going on with Israel and stuff like that. They're going to want to make a big false flag. When all else fails, they take you to war. When all else fails, at the end of the day, they take you to war. That's to keep their eyes off everything, because everything I think in the world's at a boiling point right now. They need another war.
I don't think like war is impending. I think it's like domestic kind of war. That's what's going to happen.
I think it's both, Giddy. I mean, look what's going on, and China looks like they're about to strike Taiwan. Russia's not slowing its advance on Ukraine. The guy said, "I'm going to end the war in 24 hours." That didn't happen. Now he's giving them more weapons and aids than Zelensky. He said, "I'm going to end the war in Gaza." That didn't happen. He's giving them more weapons. So, the guy really hasn't really delivered on anything, if I'm being honest. He said he's going to cut federal income tax. He didn't do that either.
Hey, Frank, I didn't hear that last part. Who did you say was talking about cutting federal income tax?
No, Trump said he was going to cut federal income tax because at the end of the day, I think it was under McKinley when the tariffs worked. There was no federal income tax in the United States of America then. I could be wrong. But that he definitely said he wanted to cut federal income tax, and he hasn't done that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the U.S. president doesn't have the power to unilaterally cut federal income taxes. I mean, he can do it temporarily, like if there's some kind of emergency going on, but as a whole and lawfully, he can't because that's under Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution. He can propose tax cuts and lobby for them, but I mean, it's still Congress is going to have to pass a bill that's going to alter, the IRS code and all of that, and even the agency of the IRS itself. So, I mean, that's really all he can do. And when I heard him say that, I knew that was a promise he could not fulfill. I mean, it tells you that that's something that he would like to see and would advocate for, but he just honestly doesn't have the power to do that.
No, and even though, like I said, even though he had the majority of the House, that's probably going to change come the midterms, more than likely, when he had the majority of the House under his control, right? When he had the majority. So he could pass everything he wanted. He still hasn't done that. So it's all just a cry on deaf ears, in my opinion. And I'm kind of fed up with it, and then he's going to switch it off to J.D. Vance. Now, you probably know this if you don't about J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel and Plantier. And he was a never Trumper, J.D. Vance. In 2017, he actually advocated for transexual rights, transgender rights and all that stuff. He's a bit of a left-wing loony. He's married to an Indian. He tries to put on this whole facade about being from the Appalachians and everything, to appeal to the white working class. It's all bullshit in the facade. Excuse my language. But he's going to be propped up as the next savior. He's going to be propped up as the next savior for Trump and MAGA, to take that movement to the next level. I think Trump also already pushed him and Rubio to go for it. Two very big never Trumpers and two big Israel
Yeah, right,
chills.
Vince.
You
How are
know,
you?
so the cycle's never going to be broken as far as I'm concerned. If voting really mattered, they wouldn't let you do it. And I'm just fed up with this two-party system. It's going nowhere.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
two
but
party
Grady,
system is definitely a problem.
can I just ask you something about America as well? Cashless society, has it being talked about over there, or is it actually happening in the US? A cashless society is like like your mainstream shops, are they all cashless society now, or can you still pay with cash?
There's some places that are around Los Angeles where I'm at. Most of them are cashless now, especially all the Bootsy and all that place. Most of them are cashless.
I think
And
that's
is it
though
true?
largely in part though because of the government of California is in on that whole push for the cashless society. So obviously they're going to be leading the charge on that. I know here in Texas and in much of the South, it's not like that. You can still pay with cash in a lot of places. I know that there's a lot of advocacy actually against cashless society. So I think that when it boils down to it, I think that you're going to see places like the South that's going to be one of those holdouts. If they do try to push for a permanent cashless society, there's going to be a huge pushback from the South.
Can I just put something to you here, right, and just tell me what you think of this, right? In Ireland, right, we've got a thing called the Criminal Assets Bureau, CAB, it's called, okay? And if you go back to the early, say, maybe you say mid 90s, okay, they were kind of evolved after a report here was unalived, okay? And the thing is, they put it down to like you couldn't buy a car with cash, you can't buy a house with cash, and that stemmed from there on, but used a legal and criminal system to do that, to make sure you couldn't pay with cash. Like you can't walk into a garage now and buy a brand new car with cash. You have to pay it on a card, or you have to pay it through a bank. You can't pay through cash. Cash is not acceptable for a purchase like that. How long in your country has it been like that?
Oh no, we can still buy cars with cash. We can still buy homes with cash.
We can't. We're not allowed to buy with cash. Like I'm talking, literally, you couldn't walk into an auctioneer and say, "Right, I've got in this suitcase 500,000, and you're buying it. I'm buying this house off you." You couldn't do that. It wouldn't happen. It'd be looked at as a criminal, kind of, if you were to do something like that.
It's 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 strange that they would do that, and the only reason I could think that they would do that is so that they can one track spending habits
Yeah.
and two control the flow of resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they did manage to get us on a cashless society, right? So just here's another thing to look at, right? I understand, and I don't know about America now, but over here, if your credit rate, like say you go and buy, just say like a car, okay, and you fail on them payments, right? And you don't like you get repossessed on the car, or whatever, but you still owe money for the car because you had it and it was damaged and whatever else. They still come look for that money, right? But after 2 years, they can't put you on the system. The company can't look for you. They're not allowed to legally look for you. And after 7 years, your credit is redone, like it's a fresh new sheet. Basically, you haven't got bad credit, okay? If they have cashless society, my worry would be, okay, that they could turn around and say, well, no, we're getting rid of that in legislation, and we're going to look back 20 years of your credit, how much you actually owed. And because it's cashless, they can take that direct from you, regardless whether you like it or not. They're taking that payment, and every penny that was ever lost, they're getting it back for each company, but the percentage going back to government, obviously, because they're allowing it to happen. That's what like my outlook is on this cashless society, and why we should keep on going in paying cash in places. And you know, when people are walking on tills, go to the people who are walking on the tills, not the machine. Forget the machine. Go to the people on the till, give them cash. And the more that people use that way, I believe that will probably somehow keep cash in society, because there's a lot of things you can't do if you don't have cash. And these like people that are like, you know, on computers and they're splashing around with these pyramid systems and things like that, that's not going to last forever either. They said that they couldn't unlock that sort of stuff and they couldn't look at that stuff. The guys here have looked at that stuff and found millions hidden within these sort of things. So nothing's untouchable at the moment. But just your thoughts on that, guys. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Well, the money, just give my 2 cents on it real quick. The money over here basically is not worth what it's printed on. I mean, it's worthless. Like the cash that's getting printed here, it's worthless. So it's going to be even more worthless probably in the next 10, 15 years. I mean, we're not even going to be the
Silver,
cryptocurrency anymore, I
gold,
believe.
and
I mean,
silver and gold. I think personally, and platinum and things like that. I think that's what everything is going to be kind of. There's your new currency, if you like to call it, but not new as a new. It's like 1,000 years ago that was your currency.
well, Saudi Arabia, I think, is not going to use us as the petrodollar. They might, but there's that constant fear they might go with BRICS or Russia. So, and that's a good amount where we've been printing, I think, from the U.S. Saudi petrodollar has been since then, which has basically caused a big lot of inflation. And since, what was it, 76? Gold base, they cut, or 67. When was it they cut a gold backed currency in the U.S.? I'm not too sure. I think, was it the 70s or the 60s?
Yeah, it was 1971 or 72, something like that. It was 71 or 72. I can't remember which year.
Okay, yeah.
So,
and
like, not the way everybody wishes that, like, you're kind of going to go back to living in the 80s, but you're saying they're going back as bad as World War II, a recession that could hit like World War II. Would you think that would happen in America? And if it did happen in America, what way would it affect the rest of the world?
I think it's definitely, well, that's what I was saying earlier, right? Is where we're at economically on track to what the economists has put us at. We're on a fast pace and we are near approaching the World War II economic era with our economy. And a big part of that is the US dollar. It's not like other world currency where it's based on some type of resource or some type of like real economic backing or oil levels or anything like that. The US dollar, the value of it is literally just based on trust in the marketplace. It's trust in the US government and its central bank, and that's it. It's not backed by any other resource. It's not backed by anything tangible. It's literally just trust. That's it. And that is exactly why our economy is on the downward spiral that it's in, why it's in a dangerous tailspin. And the only way I think for us to get out of that partially is we need to start basing it back on whatever resources we have, whether it's a natural resource, human capital, tech marketing, something. It needs to have some type of basis.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. There seems to be like, I'm thinking about like the crash in Ireland that might happen due to, right. So Trump wants to take probably 250% of the pharmaceuticals here in this country. Okay. All down to the fact of Israel. And that's been straight up like they were kind of threatened about Israel as if they don't trade with Israel, they're kind of going against their Semitic or something like that. They were saying with America, and America will cease trading with Ireland if they don't come back together with Israel. Whereas Trump then is saying that his tariff is going to be 250% on pharmaceuticals. Now he hasn't put that in place, but if he did do something like that, I'd say that we'd land back in World War One. I think we'd land back to the Stone Age, to be fair, if he was to do something like that.
Yeah.
There's a thought on that there, guys, if you want. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Frankie. I didn't know if you were going to say
I thought you
something.
talked. Sorry, I didn't know who you're talking to. I'm okay. You can go.
If you actually read there what Locker says in the comments there, just read the comments.
Well, from my understanding, he was initially talking about somewhere between 150% to a 250% tariff on the EU in and of itself, not specifically linked to Ireland, although obviously Ireland is going to be affected by any type of tariff that hits the EU. But from what I've understood as of recently, what they have in place, and what he's agreed to stick with for now is the 15% tariff that was negotiated under the EU-US framework. But I said this in one of my lives on TikTok before. With all of this that's been going on, Trump does care about Ireland, what goes on with Ireland. Trump is not a fan of the EU. He does not like the EU, which is why he has been publicly advocating and telling Ireland, like, you need to get out of the EU. You need to do something about the EU. Why he's been putting pressure on the Irish government. And because he recognizes the same thing that a lot of us do. The EU is not good for Ireland. It's not healthy. The things that they do are bad. And being tied to an entity like that, once they become a target of something like they are economically here, it's going to have a bad repercussion for Ireland. And so if he meant anything really ill or did not care about Ireland, he would not be telegraphing this stuff in advance. It's like, saying, hey, I've got a problem with these people in this neighborhood over here. You guys live nearby. You might want to get out or relocate temporarily until we get done doing what we're doing over here so you don't get hurt. And then you go, oh, yeah, sure. But then you stay. Is he then responsible for what happens if there was a warning in advance type thing?
Go ahead there, Frank. Do you have anything you want to put to that?
I think she could be correct, but Donald Trump let's be honest, he only cares about one thing, and it's shown through his policies. He's Israel first. I don't even think he's America first. That's just my opinion. I believe.
I respectfully disagree with that point.
I mean, look, let's be honest. What has he done for America?
He's done quite a bit for America. And we're also talking about, it's funny because we look at his current presidency, right? He's only been in office, 7-8 months now. So not even a full first year in, and how much crap happened under Biden administration and how much tangled web of effery went on. That's going to take a lot of undoing, a lot of corruption that has to get addressed, a lot of issues that are become very complicated and complex. They're not going to happen within the first few months. They're not going to even happen within the first year. If we're 2 years into an administration and we're still seeing the same thing, then I would agree with you. But the fact that we haven't even completed the first year after the shit show that was Biden Kamala, I still think there needs to be a little bit of grace and room given for all of the things that are going on, because he's trying to tackle things domestically and internationally, and it's just a ball of mess.
Well, I hope I stand vindicated. So come back to me in 2 years, and I guess is all I can say. So
yeah, well, I'm saying you might be right. You might be right in 2 years, and I might be wrong in 2 years. Who knows? But I just think, in all fairness, we're not even out of the first year of him being back after that shit show. So I just think some grace should be given. And then after that, let's start really looking at what's going on, because there's going to be changes that have to be made, and then you have to allow time for change to actually be seen. You're not going to see the effects of things until later down the road, and that's with anything. So I think we just give it a little bit of time, see how it works out and things like that. I see him going back and forth on stuff, but all that tells me is that as information comes in, he's constantly reevaluating his position, which is good, because then that tells me that mentally he's somebody that is looking at data. He's actively looking at it. He's thinking about it. And that's kind of why he's here, there, back and forth on different things, because he's really taking in all of the information, which is better than other presidents that we have, that they just say, this is my stance on something and I'm not changing it no matter what. And I don't like people that are like that, regardless of which party that they belong to. So the fact that he kind of does go back and forth, it just tells me from a lawyer's mind standpoint that he's seeing data, he's seeing information and evidence, and he's actively thinking about it, reasoning it, taking it all in. And that I appreciate no matter who the president is.
Well, what I got a big problem with is especially his first term. Now, people can argue saying his first term, he had all the swamp creatures inside. He couldn't do what he wanted to do, him getting impeached. Yeah, okay, that could play a big part, but he chose all those people. Second of all, for his first term, he gave Israel everything he wanted, recognizing the Golan Heights. He also took out Soleimani. He also moved the embassy to Jerusalem. He didn't build the wall like he said he was going to. Like I said, it's too little, too late. Not only that, he brought in Operation Warp Speed, which affected millions of people. And let's not forget this: the H-1B visas. He's kind of looking like he might backtrack on that, but I'll believe it when I see it. So the H-1B visas is basically how we got elected through Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance in Silicon Valley.
Sorry, guys,
That's
to
how we got
interrupt.
all those votes, and that's
Sorry,
how he's
Frankie.
bringing in millions of Indians.
Frankie,
So, yeah.
sorry to interrupt you there. Can you just read what I highlighted there? Just what is being said there in the comments, and just keep an eye
What about
on
the
the
video
comments.
of Trump's speech to African and Islamic leaders telling them to drive out the terrorists over 7 years ago, and where they drive them into Europe and Ireland? The Venus putting that out, please.
Did you put that back up? I was trying to read it. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm working. I'm working at the same time as doing.
Oh shit! Sorry, Gary.
Yeah, I just done it there. Can you see that, Truthful?
Yeah. I don't remember hearing about that. So, I mean, honestly, if you give me a second, I'd like to just look into that and see for myself. I'm not saying it didn't happen at all, but I also don't want to speak from a point of ignorance.
Yeah, that's understandable. No problem. Have a gander at that. The next one I'm going to put up there is KO. He put this up.
Shit. I see some of the foreign property owners are selling their property. Belgium co-sold 6 properties from their portfolios. So if the shy hitting the fan, they always ahead of the plebs finding out.
I don't know whether anybody could understand what he's saying there, but
KO is a she. But, you know.
sorry, sorry, KO. Apologize.
Go on, explain it.
No, I'm just saying. There for everybody to read what's being said. Anything that you'd like to put to that, guys, as regards to America and the way that it's looking at,
Yeah,
like
House a bad influence. She just had to send up a challenge today, so yeah, go follow her. Truthful speaking.
We want to at least get 20 subs to follow her at least in here today, if it was possible. And if you can share it out to your friends, because we will be having Truthful coming into our podcast every so often, and we'll be joining her on her side every so often. She's like,
thank you guys.
Well educated, guys, and knows what she's talking about. And it's always a good, pleasant to speak with her as well. We have spoke to her.
I just disagree about the Trump
TikTok
stuff. Like I said, I don't hate Trump. I voted for him. He was the only person I ever voted for in my life, and I'll never vote again. So I'm just, I'm actually kind of, I think people feel betrayed by him, is all I got to say. But, let's give it some time, as you say. But I'm not trying to sound arrogant or big-headed here. I think I'll be vindicated in the end.
I just think about giving Trump some time and stuff like that. And he didn't have all the successes in his first term that he wanted to have, but he did have some successes. And so looking at the climate and stuff that was in, and then we had COVID happen, so he spent 2 years of his term with dealing with a global crisis on top of everything else. So again, trying to give grace where grace is due. That's like with Obama, I gave grace to Obama in his first term. His second term, I couldn't give any grace for that. So with Trump, looking at him dealing with the global pandemic, him not being able to deliver on everything, but he did deliver on a lot of things. I'm not going to completely discount it because he didn't do everything that he promised. I don't think any president will ever do everything that they promise, nor do I think that they're capable of doing everything that they promise. I think we as voters need to be educated. And I think that there is a responsibility maybe that campaigns should have about public education, or even organizations within our own states, voter education, understanding what the law really is, actually knowing what a president can and can't do. It astounds me how many Americans don't understand are actual laws. They genuinely do not understand what powers the president has, what authority they have. They don't understand what powers Congress has. They don't understand the full breadth of what the Supreme Court can and can't do. But they'll argue about it all online, all day, every day on social media. And it just sits back and it astounds me how much people do not know, and yet they go into voting booths and then they make public statements online. And I'm not saying this is you at all. I'm just saying Americans, period, in general. They genuinely do not understand the way their own system works. And it's really terrifying.
No, well, with two parties and the same system, and it's 8 years at best you might get out of the presidential candidate. And I don't think anything will be achieved or changed in 10 years from the previous administration and all of that happened. So I think if you want something done, am I saying an authoritarian dictator? I don't know. Who knows? As long as he loves the country, I don't really care at this freaking point. As long as someone loves his country, I don't care.
I think we need to get out of the two-party system. That's the biggest thing. Like, we need to abolish the whole commission, because I don't even see how this commission is like, they act like this commission is constitutional law for what requirements for getting in and being able to debate on stage and all that. None of that's in the Constitution. Get rid of the two-party system. Allow anybody that wants to run, that can gather enough votes, for a primary, allow them to be in the primary. And if they can pass the mustard on the primary stage, then there should be open debate. Americans should be able to be aware of every presidential candidate that's out there, what they stand for. They should all be given a platform, and we should have an honest representation of what it is that we want. The power structure has got to come down. It's not written in stone. It's something we can change, and it's something that we need to be proactive about as citizens. Sitting on our butts complaining about it is not going to change it. We have to actually do the things that we need to do, that we're allowed to do under law, and tear down the system, which we can do. And we need to recreate a system that's not under this two-party system, because we are absolutely within our legal right to do so.
I agree. Our forefathers would be rolling over in their grave if they could see the state of our country. And now, it wasn't founded on the values that are upheld today. We need to we need to reset back to factory settings and go back to some old ways. It will keep
I love
I
like the Libertarian Party. I think the Libertarian Party is a fair representation of where most people are at ideologically in the United States. I know that there are people that are like hardcore Democrat or hardcore Republican, but when you actually talk to people and you start seeing where they socially line up at, or where they economically line up, and you start really talking to them about it, and you find out that they're really not as cut and dry as even they think they are. A lot of people, majority of the Americans, I think, fall kind of into that libertarian area, which is basically it's a blend of the Democrat and the Republican ideology. It's where people care about social issues, but they want that financial responsibility, and they want that, they want a strong military, they want a strong economy and things like that, but they also want social issues to still be there as well, a social platform for people to be taken care of as well. And I think that that's a balanced way of looking at things. And I don't know if anybody remembers, but a few years back, they had a strong candidate who didn't make it far because he was up against two powerhouses, but I actually had voted for him, and that was Gary Johnson and Mr. Weld. I thought that they were a great representation. I thought that was something that could have been refreshing for the United States. And I would have loved to see leaders like that, because they actually represented the people, especially the working class, more. They were a better representation of that. And I think that they would have better advocated for the United States.
Okay, well, I'm at the stage where I don't even trust a political party. If a party comes along, I guess you could say I have some libertarian views, as you say, a lot of people do, but I'm a bit more old school. I wouldn't say I'm extremely far right, but maybe I am to certain people. But I don't see voting it really making a difference anymore. Maybe I'm just that, fed up, black pilled, whatever you want to call it. I'm just completely fed up. I don't trust anyone anymore. My trust has gone out the window of every politician.
You think they're all? I was just going to say that to you. You think they're all the same?
Yeah, that's what I
Doesn't
think.
matter who gets in.
It doesn't matter.
you shouldn't want a politician, right? We need to get back to what's called statesmen. And I talk about that a little bit on my platform too. There's a difference between a statesman and a politician. We need statesmen. Statesmen actually care about what people want, what people need. They represent the state. A politician is somebody who's out for themselves. They're out for political power and they're self-serving. And we have a ton of politicians. We don't need any more politicians. We need a statesman.
I agree with you, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nationalism. I mean, I'm a big fan of ethno-nationalism. I think a lot of people have civic nationalism. I think only way, particularly now I'm talking about Ireland and Europe here, the only way you're going to keep your culture and your people alive is through ethno-nationalism. You can't have civic nationalism, particularly like Tommy Robinson saying, "Oh, Indians and Afro-Caribbeans are as much as English as me and you." No. In order to have that, you need to have your identity preserved with your own people. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are afraid to be called racist still, or far right, or Nazi, and all that stuff. You just have to embrace it, because at the end of the day, it's just words. Your people is what matters. And people ask what they need, what they want. People don't ask what they have, or what's right in front of them. Their own people. The most precious possession we have in this life is our own people, our own blood, and we cannot let them die out. So that's our core foundation is our people. And I guess I agree with the statesman definition that you just made, but I think we need more than that. I think we need a true leader. Maybe I'm going a bit far right here, but we need one leader and just one final leader. I that's what I'm looking at.
It's the same over here. There's too many looking to get into power, or too many looking to get.
They don't care about their own people. That's it. It's all filled with greed. At the end of the day, these people don't care. They're sellouts, all of them. I think the country died in 1963, the United States of America, when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. I truly do believe that. So every president since him has been controlled. I don't see us voting our way out of it. I really don't. And they say this
Truthful, how
country's
do you feel about what Franklin's saying there?
That didn't come popular until about appear maybe mid to late 80s, and then start servicing to the 2000s. It's countries founded on Christian values. That's what it is. And they've already trying to strip everything away in America. I mean, the Christ is King is frowned upon. They took the word God out of the Pledge of Allegiance and in the schools. It chip by chip, bit by bit, they've been taking our heritage away from us. So I guess it's just a rambling of a guy who's just completely fed up with the whole system and the world and the United States. And I just want to see my people be preserved and prevail and just succeed. That's what I really want at the end of the day.
Frankly, in Europe, you got to look at it like this. They're unelected bureaucrats. They're they're not put into power by the people of Europe at all. Yeah, they're just put there as in pawns, for the rich, and there to make as much money as possible for the rich, like the Rothschilds, like you said before, and various different other entities. Your man Soros, he's funding communism. He's funding people all over the world to, bring in all these trans rights and LGBTQ, and he's hopping on any bandwagon that will go forward with it. And it's like, when you look at the two sides of things, it's like in Palestine, if the LGBTQ to go over there and start protesting with their flags and everything else, what would happen to them?
Yeah, I mean, he funds both sides. He funds the pro-Palestine movement, then he also funds the birthright movements to Israel to get Jews to go to Israel. So he's funding both sides as usual. So these people are funding both sides, left and right. We have two parties with basically the same system, the same agenda, and the same outcome, just to enrich themselves and
basically the rich have us in a fishbowl, and literally they're playing games with everybody and all our lives. But yet the people, like I say, I've said this many times, I'll bring us back down onto the ground. The people are not standing up to this. The people are not putting it in, whether it be law, whether it be overtaking your country, overtaking your government, or whatever may be the case. Like you say, these protests are not working. They're not doing anything other than numbers turning up. Like myself and Mousy and various other people that are going over to London, we're doing it to document to show people what's happening and in the real setting. Do you know what I mean? And in the future, we want to go to France, we want to go over to Sweden, and we want to show the real setting of what's going on in these countries, not what the media want to push at you. And I'd say we will get some contentment from the likes of the government as getting the guards to come on to us and, you can't be showing that sort of footage and this, that, and the other. We don't give a shit. We want to show the people what exactly is happening with these countries and the real story. Like, we went to every protest that it's imaginable. We went to every passing that's imaginable throughout Ireland. But it's not doing anything for us. So now we're looking at documenting and showing people exactly what is going on, the real truths of what's going on.
Yeah. I wondered if I could, there's a comment that I saw that I wanted to address from House of Bad Influence. Basically, he's saying exactly Christian foundations, not Judeo-Christian. Love how they try to sneak that in. Here's where we have to be mindful and aware. The reason why you say Judeo-Christian is because there is no Christianity without Judaism. We're birthed out of Judaism. Our whole Old Testament is based on Judaism and Jewish practice. I think that there's a difference when we're talking about Israeli citizens, Israeli people, Hebrew people, Abrahamic people, and when we're talking about Israeli government, Israeli politicians, Israeli military. And I think that in Israeli bankers, I think that there needs to be a conversation about that and awareness of that, because even within that, their own people don't agree with the powers and the power structures all the time. There's a division there too. And if we only look to our Bible, we see that even then, where there was a divide between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, who were the Jewish leaders at the time, and they were the power structure, and how people pushed back against them as well, especially when Christ came in and he was trying to remind them of what the teachings and stuff really are. There is no Christianity without Judaism. It is a tenet foundation of our faith. The faiths are intertwined. It is what it is. The people are intertwined. So while I agree with disagreeing with what Israeli government is doing, Israeli power structure is doing, what they have done, tactics that the Israeli military use based on what they're instructed to do by their government, I 100% agree with that. I don't agree in even, Jewish people that own media and use that in the wrong way, bankers who are both Jewish, but there's also non-Jewish people who own banks or are part of the big banking elites who also do those same things. I think we need to separate the power structure from the people who are just tied to it because they were born into it, because they're not all guilty of the same thing. And so I would just ask that people be mindful of that too. And you can't call yourself Christian and hate all Jews, because literally that's where our religion is birthed from. So just be mindful of that.
So the Pharisees are basically the Jews are of today are basically descendants of the modern day of the Pharisees. They're modern day Pharisees because they reject Christ, and basically those who bless Israel shall be blessed. The real thing is those who bless Abraham will be blessed. So the sons of Abraham, i.e., the church, it doesn't have anything to do with Judaism. As soon as Christ was crucified, he that's the temple. We are the temple. We are the sons of Abraham. So that whole Judeo-Christian value it's basically has nothing to do with us, because they rejected Christ. That was it. It was done then. That's when we separated. So
that's not the case, because the fact is that even after Christ died, right? And now we're getting into theology and a Sunday sermon. After Christ died and was crucified, and even after he was resurrected, the disciples still continued to go to the Jews and still to basically proselytize them. None of that was changed. And Jesus himself even said that not a word is to be changed from the written word. You're not to remove anything. You're not to strike a pen. He didn't even change any of the laws. The only thing that was changed under the law, and that's biblical, was how salvation is done. So, I mean, I just respectfully disagree with you on that, because that's not what the Bible says.
There's been particularly circumcision. Gentiles don't need to become circumcised in order to enter the church. the reason.
But that wasn't a change, though. That wasn't a change. Gentiles were never required to be circumcised. That was a thought process that some of the disciples had, because their assumption based on Jewish law, but being born into that, and that was an old Hebrew tradition, that was never something that was required of the Gentiles. And that was something that Paul was simply educating them on, was that it's not required because they weren't born under that law. That was a specific law given to the Hebrew children. That law was not given to the Gentiles. Therefore, he was reminding them of how that law actually works. So there was nothing that was changed. It was just him educating on something that they misunderstood.
Well, a lot of it has to do with basically, them rejecting Christ and us being the center of it, of the sons of Abraham, because we accepted Christ. So the church, we are the church, we're the temple, and everything that stands on it. It's God in flesh. That's who we are. And I have another thing I have a problem with is the Talmud. Now, the Talmud doesn't basically have all of these things. It's a whole bunch of boring stuff saying you can't brush your teeth on this and that. But nonetheless, it still says Jesus is burning in a pile of feces. And nonetheless, in the Torah, it still says, Jesus was basically, I'm not going to use the words that they said, a traitor, to use words politely, and they speak horribly about him. I'm just wondering how that has anything to do with us, considering they crucified Christ. And and I don't want to hear that the Romans, they have the Romans do it. They could literally say, they literally chose a criminal, a murderer, Barabbas, over him. So I'm just wondering how that still, has anything to do with us, how we're intertwined. I think that as soon as, they crucified Christ, in my opinion, we cut off from them, because there's not really anything we have in common with them, to be honest. I mean, they hate us.
And that's all Pharisees, Sadducees.
I mean, what do they say good about Christianity? I'm just curious. Like, they spit on Christians. They hate Christ.
Not all of them. They have extreme Orthodox Jews who do that, and that's a small sect of them. That's not every sect of Judaism that does that.
Well, I don't think a lot of them are quite fond of us. They don't seem to like the Catholic Church. They don't seem like Catholics. I think the only one
I'm an Irish American, and I was born into an Irish Catholic family. I don't like the Catholic Church.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about, and they changed the Good Friday prayer ceremony during the Avicii Agreement, I believe, 1963, 1965, because it was deemed too anti-Semitic. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about that. I'd honestly have to go back and look at that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just don't like this whole Schofield, influenced Bible that's been pushed on America, and, the Judeo-Christian values. I have nothing wrong with them. I have a problem with them, imposing usury onto Gentiles.
Can I put something to this?
I have
Sorry,
a problem
Frankie.
with them imposing mass migration onto us.
Frankie.
What?
Sorry, can I just put something to what you're saying there, yeah? With the Catholic Church, what they done was they let them abuse women, children, and all sorts, and unalive babies and everything else. That's what the Catholic Church done.
Yes.
And they waited until those priests were too old to get them done, or let them pass away before they bring it out 50 years later, what they done. And that's how smart the Catholic Church is. So they didn't have to pay out any sort of funding to them people that lost their life due to their tormenting, if you like to call it. Like, there's the Magna Laundries, there's those babies in the tomb, there's 101 stories about what the Catholic Church done in schools, to victims in schools, people that have unalived themselves because of what the Catholic Church done to them. And we're bringing a much more sinister religion in, which is called Islam. And Islam is going to bring more terror.
This is actually quite interesting, too, I should say, too. One of Muhammad's wives was Jewish. And not only that, this is from a Rabbi Yitzhak Rabin, who also said Muhammad tried to convert to Judaism but was denied. So not only that, a lot of the Quran, he borrowed a lot of the Quran from the Talmud. This is actual facts. And there's basically identical verses in the Quran with that of the Talmud. So it's like the rabbi in France said. He said Islam will be the broom of Judaism. We're Edom. They hate Edom. So why do you think they go to Titus and they always flick off the Arch of Titus for when he destroyed the Second Temple? They view us as the new Rome, America, Edom. We're Amalek. They want to destroy us.
Yeah,
it
but
comes
Frankie,
down to that. It
how many
comes down
times?
to the book. That's what it comes down to in the
Sorry,
book. And they want to
Frankie,
destroy us.
How many times in the Quran, though, does it mention that non-believers
Yeah,
should be unalive.
Kafars.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
going.
yeah. It's
Like going.
142 times, if I'm correct. 142 times they mentioned within that, if you're not a believer of Islam, or you don't want to be Muslim, or you don't believe in what they believe in, you should be unalived. You know what I mean? What
And
kind of
the
satanic
same goes in the
religion is
Talmud. The same goes in the Talmud.
that? But this is what I'm saying. Yeah, you're saying it comes from the Jewish religion, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know much about the Jewish religion. To be fair, I don't know anything about like what they believe in. I'm not too
Well, I'm telling you,
clear.
the Schofield Bible and the Bible has basically influenced America as of now. It's heavily influenced from Judaism. It's been heavily Jewified, if I'm being blunt.
To be fair, I look at it like this: religion has caused war. Religion has caused hate. It's caused the void of people. It's like, if you have all these different religions, and why do you have all these different religions? Like, why do all them people believe in something different? Why didn't we all just carry on going believing in donkeys and goats and everything else? Because that's the original plan, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? Whereas now you have all these different religions and then kids that are coming out saying that, like, they're so confused in school, it's unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? What they're doing to children now. They're taking the boy away from the boy and making him into a girl. They're saying you can be a kitty cat if you want to be a kitty cat. You can just say at a tree or whatever. It's okay to be gay. And if you don't want to get married, or you don't want to, like, they're confusing the shit out of children. And one thing that I have to give the Catholic Church, yes, they had their own faults and they've done a lot of things wrong. But in the school setting, the Catholic Church didn't have any of that sort of stuff going on. There was no such a thing as LGBTQ. There was no such thing as trans rights. There was no such thing as teaching kids from a young age it's all right to dress like a man. You know, they wouldn't accept that. Do you know what I mean? And they still don't accept that. If you read the comments there, Frankie, I think that's directed for yourself.
Yeah, and Lord Try is absolutely correct. He's absolutely correct. Look, I'm going to drop out here and everything. I appreciate you having me and everything. But like I said, it all stems from one place. And we all need to know where we're going. We all need to look after each other, put differences aside, and know that our people come before
True.
everything. You know?
Yeah, thanks for coming up, Frankie.
No problem.
It's
Thanks for
always a
having me.
pleasure,
Good talking
Frankie.
to you.
It's nice
Thanks,
talking
bro.
to you.
Truthful.
Thanks so much.
Nice to meet
Nice
you.
meeting you, Frankie.
Have a great day.
You too.
Right, well, truthful speaking, we've went like roughly 25 minutes over our time, what we normally do, but it's been lovely having you in.
Thank you guys
Um,
for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks
It's
for coming in.
been really good. And we look forward to the future. You know, we will come into yours when you're ready, up and running. If you can get people in, it'd be lovely to hear from you again. And like, you're
Could everybody
welcome
in the
to
comments give truthful speaking sub this?
Thank
Thanks
you.
very much. Yeah.
And we will
Appreciate you
put it out
guys.
on our page there to get people to come in and try getting you up there a little bit, you know, get you out there listening. It's a much better
Jerry's in the
platform.
comments here. Jerry, can you put the link out there for us, bro?
Yeah, I'm trying to just
For
let you guys
truthful.
know I've been on TikTok.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry.
It's way too
Jerry's
much
already on the ball.
It's way too much censorship over there on TikTok. It's way too wonky. The algorithm, having played the algorithm game, I'm like not feeling that. So I am making the transition over to YouTube. I'm slowly, I've got a majority of my content moved over. And then it's just going to be the process of kind of letting the followers that I have over there, make them aware that I'm moving over here and kind of getting them slowly translated over here. I may leave that account up and running just to occasionally do a live over there. But if I do, that's going to be still geared more towards like my whole diaspora outreach probably. And then the more serious content is going to be done here on YouTube, since it's a little bit better platform to do that on. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Listen, dog man.
To be fair, this is much better. This is truthful. You'll find that you'll get more educated people on it. As you can see, the people that are in the comments, they give you a good run for your money, if you like to call it, They do know what
and
they're
not
talking
as
about.
much arguing either.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
It's a witch hunt on TikTok. It seems to be that, oh, you can't be this or you can't be that. See, whereas it comes to YouTube, you can be ever what you want to be. Yeah.
Yep.
And if people don't like it, they can go somewhere else. Simple as that. Do you know what I mean? And there's no like, oh, I'm going to be mod and I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that. And I don't like that person, so I'm going to remove them. we give everybody their fair share of what they want to speak about and their honest way. You got a message there. You have truthful. I think that's
Truthfully, thank you for your
thank you.
time. I wish you, as our diaspora, a peaceful return to Ireland. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Do you see what I mean? That's what I'm saying. We got beautiful people in here, you know, that like they're always good people that are in, you know, and you're always treated fairly. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys. So I look forward to the future with everybody. Everybody in the comments, thank you so much for the warm welcome. And this was a fun.
Thanks
first
everybody
time
for
me.
coming in.
Yeah.
And I'll be live tomorrow. I'll be live tomorrow out in Mead. So if anybody wants to tune in, I'll be live around 2 o'clock.
If
I'm
you want
usually
to,
offline. I'm personally usually offline on the weekend because my husband and I work so much, like hardcore work during the week. So I try to give him my attention. And guys, if y'all are the praying kind of people, I don't care what your spiritual belief is, as long as it's not the devil. I would love for people to pray for one of my best friends I've had since I was a child. We've been friends for 30 something years.
Thanks,
She just recently had a brain tumor removed from her head. So I'm going tomorrow to go check on her and her boys. Her husband died. Her husband died 3 years ago from prostate cancer. So this was a big scare for all of us, especially her boys, because we thought we might lose her. So I'm going to go check on her and make sure that she's okay. Hopefully they got all of the tumor out. So prayers for her would be welcome as well. Her name is Vanessa. So thank you guys so much.
Will do.
Thanks very much.
Like I say, truthful, look forward to seeing you on the next live if you're able to make it. It'll be on Thursday. We are going to start trying to turn it into an everyday thing within the next, hopefully, week or two. Okay. We'll be coming on board. We went on yesterday, went on today. We are going to start joining more to it because, as you know, I've walked away from TikTok. Just for the simple fact is, it's too childish. It's not a platform for what we're talking about. Don't get me wrong. I've made some good, cool friends along the way, and it just seems that like people want to go after each other. I'm not into that. I'm into what's going on in the world around us. And if we can't sit down and talk about that and find out that, well, there's something seriously wrong, you know. And like I say, myself and Mousy are looking to, document what's going on. We're not following the protest anymore. We're gonna go everywhere and document and show everybody what it's about.
Yeah, and we need to start unifying. I mean, the people need to start just unifying as a whole. I mean, our governments have proved themselves inept, and we really just need to educate ourselves, each other, and just start unifying globally and pushing it against the elites, because they literally are all just after our downfall in power. They don't care how much it ruins everybody else. But what they fail to realize is once you ruin everything, what are you going to have left to rule over?
Exactly.
Did you read that, Giddy? From Knockery?
Yeah.
Mousy, I looked at the signatures rejecting that festival that was meant to happen in Leitrim. Well, lo and behold, Canon Andre was one of the signatures. Just goes to show he's a grifter to ignore.
I heard about that, and I also, if I saw correctly, were the members of NECAP out? Did they also sign that petition?
Yeah, a few singers have signed that petition, and they're gonna pay dearly for it. To be fair, they'll fall flat on their face for that. To be fair, like they've went basically against the whole of Ireland.
And they went against their own platform.
Well, it's not that 99% of Ireland is the so-called far right, if you want to call it. I believe just loving mothers and fathers. I believe concerned citizens, whatever you want to call it, but we're not far right. There's no such thing as far right in Ireland. Just the people care about what's happening with their country, and they're standing up, and people don't like it. And it's kind of just tough shit because they're going to keep on doing it.
Yeah, I got labeled far right. Well, I've been labeled far right. Cannon's had his lives about me. And then Father Ted is kind of like their little hitman thing that he thinks he's so smart but dumb. And then I had Kieran did a whole little live segment about that too, just trying to label me as far right, when I'm like, all I want to do, guys, is educate the diaspora, connect the diaspora back to
Ireland and have a sovereign united Ireland, and that's it. That way there's a reason too. We hear people all the time saying come home, and it's like, well, we're trying to build something to come home to. And so being called far right is just,
I don't. Do you know what? Truthful, I don't even acknowledge them people anymore. It's not because I'm frightened of them. It's not because I believe what they're saying. I just don't think that they're anything to be wondering about. The less people that don't want to wonder about them or know about them, the less people are going to listen to them. The less people are they're going to fade away. Like they live in a real serious, sad little world, where they can just fight against the man, if you like to call it. That's what they're doing every day.
They wanted me off of TikTok, and I'm like, well, I was already looking at leaving TikTok anyway. But I was like, if I am leaving, sort of in part, but not as a whole. But it has nothing to do with them. It just has to do with needing a better platform, because TikTok is not that. Chinese censorship is ridiculous. So just needing a better platform, reaching better audiences. Like you said.
Sorry, I don't mean to interfere there. Who's Bridget Book, Mousy?
Yeah, no, I know Bridget Book. Yeah,
Well said, Krusty.
he's always in here.
Who's she aiming at?
I don't know. Am I the crusty whore, Bridget?
There we have
See, we won't settle for things like that in here at all. It'll just get removed.
Yeah, I think the fear is from what I've heard and what I've heard Cannon say. I've heard Kieran and some of the others and Ted and them say, the thing that they're worried about with me is they're worried about me bringing American influence and numbers of diaspora back, that they're worried would start tilting votes and power structure in Ireland. I'm like, well, if that's what you're worried about, is specifically about the diaspora moving back home and changing like power voting structures and things like that, well, then yeah, you should be worried about that, because I am actively working for that, and I'm not hiding that. I want to build an Ireland that's whole, that's sovereign, that's healthy, that makes people want to go back home, and that makes them more self-sufficient. So yes, 100% I want to do that.
There you go, Giddy.
Krusty, here is Christy Moore. Sorry, Bridget, I thought you were aiming that at somebody on here, and I picked that up wrong. So you're aiming at Christy Moore. Sorry, it wasn't actually aimed at you, truthful.
Okay, no worries. Thanks, Bridget, for the clarification, or whoever gave the clarification. Thanks so much. But I'm gonna let you guys go. I've got dinner to go cook, and
Thanks for joining us.
Spicy honey chicken.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Thanks everybody for coming in. Thanks, Jerry. KO. Thanks.
Good night.
Good night,
Bridget,
everybody. Take care.
Kevin,
God bless.
Lockery,
Thank you very much for
Jerry,
all coming in.
nice and Jerry. Done a great job tonight, bro. Slim Shady, Dog Mac, to Ireland. Who else is there?
And like, guys, reach
Aaron,
into the pocket, give it a bit
cheers,
of shuffle
bro.
with the
Michael,
game. Go on to buy me a coffee
to
app.
Ireland.
You want to support us or sponsor us for our trips. There's no
That was a
shame in
bad
it,
influence.
you know. Any help is gratefully received.
Saturday.
Because
Cheers, bro.
to go to these places.
Right. Nice and Giddy for coming in, and everybody else for coming in. Robert, cheers, bro.
It's actually been a good life. Enjoyed that, actually.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get it going on the daily thing, you know, even an hour a night.
Yeah.
Thanks, Frankie, for coming in.
Thanks, everybody, for coming in. Slán a Gwaib, goodbye, take care. Arvida Stain. Unfortunately, the best into
Kathleen, take care of yourself. Slim Shady. She's all there, yeah. See you later.
I'm going to end it there now, lad. I'll talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Till next time.